We're going to start now. I'm recording this for you so you can go over it at another time at your leisure. Anyway, I'm Jane Mark. I'm the president of Jam Marketing Inc. Most of you know me. And as I said before we were on the air and recording, by the end of the webinar, I'm going to tell you how you can bet on the Belmont Stakes and always hold the winning ticket in your hand. And guess what? It's not that I don't bet. I know people say to me, oh, you just don't bet, so you always have the winning ticket. No, no, no. I'm talking about I always have a winning ticket. So let's get started on a more serious note. And first of all, just let's make sure, Phil, because more people have come. Can everybody hear me clearly? Hello, just type yes. Phil's in the chat box, so just type yes if you can hear me clearly. What? It's claustrophobic. Yeah, but can anybody hear me? Uh-oh. Oh, Tony says yes. Thank you. I thought I was talking to myself. Oh, okay. Thank you, Richard. All right. So let's get started. I really named this originally, the webinar, to find your own voice. And the reason I did that was one of our clients wrote me an email and said, could you write me one of those wonderful emails that you send out? And I was very polite, but I said no, and there's a reason. It's because you need online if you really want to build a business. Wasn't that I was being mad to him or being rough with him. It's that you need to find your own voice. So there are many ways you can make money online and be successful. Some people make it through having their own sites. Others make it by blogging. Others are affiliate marketers. But it does not matter what you're doing online if you don't find your own voice. And we're going to go into that in detail now with the webinar. But before we do that, I want to do a short exercise with you because it'll really set the stage. I want you to think about one of the sites that you promote. Think about your favorite site that you promote often. And I want you to jot down on a piece of paper 3 short reasons why you promote that site. So I'm going to give you a moment just to do that. Just 3 very short reasons. And then I'd like you to pop them into the chat box so we can get a discussion going about how you can make your emails really shine. Let's put it that way. And there are no wrong or right answers, so don't be shy. Think about 3 short sentences, or even they could be 1 word, but 3 things about what? Yeah, what do you like most about it? And if I asked you, why should I join this site? Tell me 3 reasons that you joined it, or you like it, or why I should join. And then if you could just pop those reasons up in the chat room so Phil can read out a few. And then we're going to go into why this is so important. You getting any responses? Don't be shy. There's no right and wrong here. Oh, okay. Okay. When you write them down, after you write them down, just pop it in the chat box and Phil will give me some feedback. Don't be shy because there's nothing wrong or right about this. What? And Phil says you can't think of anything. That's not true. I know it. If you have a favorite site you promote, jot down 3 things or 3 reasons why you promote it. You don't even have to give us the name of the site or anything, just the reason that you are promoting a site. Okay, I seem to have stumped all you guys. I never stump you like this. But okay, let's go on to the next part. Keep in mind the exercise, and we'll come back to it. I'm going to ask you a question now, and let's get some answers on that. The question is, since online marketing is not a face-to-face endeavor most of the time, can you name a couple of things that might help you stand out from the crowd? What kinds of things would you think about when you want to stand out a little bit and be a little bit different than everybody else so that people notice you? Again, no right and wrong answers. There's just that throw out any answer you think of. Don't think too hard. Thinking too hard makes you tired. So just throw out anything you can think of the kinds of things you would ordinarily do when you're promoting to make yourself or your email or your text it or your banner be a little bit different from anybody else's. Oh my God, I'm stumping these guys today. Okay, branding, perfect. What was the next? You're being seen on no, lots of websites is really a good idea. And great support, good support. Oh, that's from Tony. Thank you, Tony. Okay, so these are some of the other things you can think about when you want to stand out. Branding is very important. Humor, storytelling when you're doing an ad or blogging, adding logos or banners or sometimes emojis to the emails that you're sending, and having your own writing style. So, branding is probably by far the most important. So, let's talk about branding for a couple of minutes. Please, 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 people do this. This is, I think, the biggest mistake when you send out an email is to not put your full name in. People are, you're so anonymous. We all are for the most part online. People want to feel like they're dealing with a real human being, and you want to make people comfortable, because even if you have a great subject line and they open your ad and they're interested in your site and they go as far as clicking on your link to join, you want to make them feel comfortable. And the way you make them feel comfortable is to do not have mystery about who you are. Put your full name in an email. Now, you can have your own signature. You don't have to just put your own name. Like I have my own signature. I always end my emails, Jane Mark, go get them, Jane, Jane Mark, and then I put the name of the site I'm promoting. Now, that's my own style. And by the way, I'll digress here and tell you why I do that particular thing. The reason I do sign my emails that way is because many, many years ago, when Phil and I first started on the net, maybe 2, 3 years into working on the net, I began to see emails with my name signed on them. I never sent them. I didn't know the program somebody was promoting. I mean, and I would say, Phil, what is this? Somebody is signing Jane Mark. I don't know this person from Adam, and I don't want to know I don't want them stealing my name. Let's put it that way. So I decided that my list members would get to know that I always sign my name, go get them, Jane Mark, and then Jane, and then Jane Mark with the name of the site I'm promoting. And that seemed to have calmed it down. or at least people seem to not be sending out my name often, and they stopped doing it, thank God. So there's lots of ways you can end your emails. You know, you might say cheers, or maybe Phil would sign it, Phil Baston, admin, whatever you're comfortable with, first of all, signing it. But you should put your name in it, because that gives your reader a comfort level that you are a real live kicking human being, and that you're not going to disappear on them. And then one of the things that Tony mentioned, good support, that is one of the things that is, if you want to be in business online, even if you don't have your own sites like Phil and I do, and like Tony does, even if you're promoting other people's sites, it doesn't matter. You should always let them know when you email them that you are there to help, and that they can contact you, and give them your email. Don't be afraid of giving people your email. Give them your email and tell them they can contact you at any time. And if you don't know the answer to your question, to their question, you'll put them in touch with the owner of the site, who will be happy to help you. But the two most, Tony actually picked up on the two out of a number of things, but two of the most important are branding yourself, and being able and willing to help your list members and or your clients, if they're clients, or if you're an affiliate and they bought through your link, you want to offer your help. It's really, really important. Okay, so the next part of sending out emails. I started talking about this before we actually came on the air, but somebody asked me to write an ad for them, and the reason I said no, I'm not. I mean, Phil writes copy for people, but that's a whole different thing. The reason I said no was not to be mean. I just said to this person, you need to find your own voice. And what I meant by that is, you can go into almost any reputable site and they will give you banner ads. Those are fine to use. They will give you text ads. Those are fine to use. And they will often give you solo ads. But you should never send out the canned. What do you say, Phil? It's too. Yeah, don't send out. I say don't send out canned ads, but Phil says what? Oh, he says it's too dark to read them when they're in a can. That's true. Anyway, what you should use solo ads for, that are located in the back of a members area, is just to get bullet points. Obviously, the owners are very familiar with the main parts of their site, so they want to give you a way of knowing what the most important parts of the site that they own um, are important to stress in an email. But just because there you can pick up the bullet points, which you should always do, make your own ad up. And the way you do that is to speak in your own voice. Talk to people as if you're talking to them, like just now, I'm talking to you guys, and talk in your emails in a way that is your own style. And then that's a form of branding, by the way. People will get to know you and they will say, oh, that's really, I know Tony's sending that out to me, or Richard's sending that out to me, because I know his style and I get to know and I get to trust him in that way. So that's very important. You don't want to send canned ads out really ever. Write your own ad. You can always refine it. Refer to the solo ads that the owner has set up for you, but only as a reference. Okay, now banner and text ads are different. If somebody's created, unless you hate the banner for the site, you can certainly put banner ads up and short text ads, and you don't have to rack your brain about what to do. Those usually are good to extract, let's say, from the members area of the owner of the site, and that's fine. But solo ads are your main way of making, or one of the main ways to make money online. And you have to find your own voice and your own way to do that. Otherwise, people say, I've seen that ad 100 times. So of course they have, because it's come right from the members area of the owner's site. So, and then they close it. You need to have a different angle on a site. You need to make it stand out in some way, and people will say, yeah, I know who Richard is. I know who Tony is. And if they're telling me this is good, probably it's really, really good. So that's how you build actually a business online. By, again, I'm going to keep saying this, finding your own voice, because it's important. So the way you can think about how to find your own voice is to actually talk to yourself before you write your ads. You want to think about why you joined a particular site. There must, if you join a site, because, after all, even if you never upgrade or whatever, you must have been interested in it, because something, the communication you got, made you, intrigued you. Let's put it that way. So think about why you joined the site. Why did you join it? What was the most important thing about the site that made you want to know more? And in your emails and other marketing, let people know about your own experience with the site and why it's worth their time to join under you. So another bottom line there is, offer your readers something different instead of canned platitudes. Use your own voice, not somebody else's voice. You'll find it's not the easiest thing to do. You got to get a hang of it. You got to find your own style, and you have to be afraid and not afraid to fail completely. Let's say you write an email series and you don't get one sign up and you don't get one sale, and you try it again and you try it another way. Keep trying it till you find the voice that sounds genuine to your reader. Now, oh, Phil wants to say something. Hang on.
Yeah, there's one simple way that you can do this. I mean, often we hear that, if you want to, personalize yourself and personalize your emails and that, write as though you're talking to somebody sitting across a desk from you, right? And if you imagine them sitting across the desk I mean, you're not going to talk to them in a robotic language, are you? You're going to talk to them as a friend. You're going to talk to them as somebody that you're just sharing something with, right? And what I would do when you're first starting to do that is talk, right? And then transcribe that and see how it sounds when you read it. And if it reads okay, right, then you can make some modifications and do a little bit of editing. But that's one way that I found when I first started out doing this, was I just talked to people as this imaginary person sitting across the desk from me, and then I would record it and I'd transcribe it afterwards, and I'd read it back to myself to see if it sounded okay. And then if it didn't, then I'd make the few little modifications and everything. And believe me, the results you get from doing stuff like that, you'll be surprised.
Oh, I'm getting my microphone back. Okay, I'm back. Now, I want to amplify one of the things that I had said. Um, Number 4, Phil, you can put the follow along link up. Now, number 4 about how to make yourself stand out is, offer your reader something different instead of just canned platitudes. So we ended that by saying, use your own voice and words, not somebody else's. But You want to go a couple of steps further than that. And one of the things you can do is to give away something. Everybody knows that. And if you have something good to give away, like ad credits or a book you've written or whatever you have that you think your subscribers would like, that's always a good thing to have in an email, or let them email you so they get to know you and ask for that giveaway that you've offered. But while giveaways are good, they're not enough. So the most valuable thing that you can offer is your help, which is what Tony was talking about when he was putting stuff in the chat room. People don't know you from a bar of soap. So somewhere in the email, your reader needs to get the idea that you are willing to help them succeed. By the way, that is the most valuable asset that Phil and I have, is that we answer our members' emails really promptly. I mean, we don't sleep. Between the two of us, he's up at night, I get up early in the morning. We try to help and answer people um, very fast. I don't think 12 hours ever goes by, but it's usually more like 1 or 2 hours, and they get service from it. And we're sort of known from that for that. People write us all the time and say, "So glad that you have patience," yada yada, and all that. But it's important because you have somebody out there on your site or on a list, and they don't know where to start. So make sure you don't have to answer all the questions they have right away, but you have to let them know you're there to help them. It's very, very important. And you have to want, by the way, if you want to be in business, any business, online, offline, one of the things you need to really, I guess it's a personality trait. You actually have to like people and like working with them and dealing with them, because if you don't like people, I really recommend another line of work, because people are all so different and you have to try to really help people and get along with them. You don't have to get to be their best friend or anything, but you really need to respond to what their needs are. And then they'll stay with you and like you, and that's the most important thing. So we, of course, have our own sites and we have help desks, which makes it easier to contact us. But you'll find always when you're on one of our webinars, we always give our email addresses out. Phil and I have no problem with people knowing our email address, and we're happy to do it. And people do contact us that way all the time. And so, don't, bottom line, don't hide your email address. And if you're hiding it, people will say, why? You know, if you need to be transparent, in other words, that's true in any social interaction. People want you to be transaction. And believe me, only a few of them bite. I mean, I can't say that in 21 years, Phil and I haven't ever gotten a very nasty letter. Yes, we have. But you know what? They're few and far between. We manage them and then we move on. There are some people who you can't help. No, you could stand on your ear and you can't help them. But you got to try. And that's part of any business, online or offline. Now, oh, I got to put this, hang on. I have to show you something now because this is important. Um, Phil, can you get the follow along link? What? Oh, you put it in the chat? Oh, okay. So you all have the follow along link, but I don't. So if you could get it into the, hang on, technical problem. I need Phil to copy that and just paste it and open it so I can follow along with myself. Ah, there we go. Thanks. Oh, speaking of branding, this Joe Yes Mabel, Are We Rich Yet? Is a brand of ours because we first got known by doing a very funny radio show, which you can still see at joeandmabel.com. And it's funny as a fit. And we got known for that. And that was one of the ways we found our own voice, was by doing something different. And especially when we first started and didn't know a website from an I don't know what, but we we did some very creative things, and that got us known on the net. Okay, but what I wanted to show you was, okay, add something unique. The reason I had SoCool, the site SoCool.com, open when you first came on, is because both SoCool and Profit from Free Ads, two of our sites, have blogs that you can write articles on and get a link and send them out. And try to keep your branding the same as whatever your branding is on your other things that you do. And what I mean by that is, this is a SoCool post. Okay, so this is one I wrote in March, but look at the top of you can put anything on the top here, which I love about our blogs. You can be as creative as you want, and you can come up with a beautiful scene and whatever. But I do a lot of ads that say, think bigger, reach higher, grow richer. So this is one blog where I have my own kind of brand at the top of it. Then, I write whatever I write, but you want to keep your branding consistent so people always know that it's you. Okay, so now let's look at, this is my blog at Profit from Free Ads. Again, you'll see the Joe and Mabel, which we use on a lot of things because many people know us as Joe and Mabel, actually. And so the name of the book we wrote is Joe, Yes, Mabel, Are We Rich Yet? So I kept that theme right on my blog. So you want to think of ways, creative ways, to brand yourself, not just in your emails, but in articles that you write, in blogs, so that you have your own persona online. It's really important. Okay. Okay, so we looked at the two blogs. Oh, and I was going to say that we still use that branding on our blog, even though we've been online for 21 years. So that becomes part of your persona, whatever you can do to brand yourself. So we talked about branding, we talked about helping others, we talked about adding something unique to your emails and blogs. I call these kind of the ABCs of marketing. And if you follow them, you really can't go wrong, because the most important thing you have is your own reputation. And, I really think it's so important to not be afraid of failing at something. Not every site you do, or even every site you promote, is going to be a success. It may not even be the site's fault. It may be that you and the site don't mix or don't match. And come on, I'm not repeating that. Oh, wrong time of the year. Okay, thank you. Anyway, you get what I mean. There's not, and if you come across a failure, meaning you've joined the site and you're all excited about it and you pushed it and pushed it and turned upside down, tried everything you knew, and nobody wants it, and or you're not making any sales, fine, that's okay. If you don't have failures, you're probably not going to have successes. So you have to be prepared when you run a business online. And it doesn't have to be your own site. Oh, Phil's tapping me on the shoulder. Okay, hang on.
One of our mentors once taught us something that was very, very valuable, because we went through periods of time too where you would send out stuff and you'd get no response at all. And you'd think, is my list dead? Are the people, having problems? What the heck is going on? Just no response at all. And then one day all of a sudden you'd get 10, 20, 30 orders. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And our mentor said to us, you can have, it doesn't matter what offer you're sending out. He said it depends on two factors: right time, right message. That's all it comes down to: the right offer at the right time. And then all of a sudden you can be sending out and getting nothing, and then all of a sudden one day all hell will break loose, right? And you won't know what to do with the number of orders you get. The internet is actually a very strange place, and you don't always get responses to even great ads that you send out. Sometimes you will, you'll send out this terrific ad that you're so proud of, and you get absolutely nothing. And all of a sudden you've got a feeling of getting dejected, and you got to stop yourself from feeling that, because it's not your fault. It gets down to right offer, right time.
Yes, I think that's very important. And the mentor that Phil was talking about is Mike Glaspie. Probably many of you have heard of him. And he, from day one, this was 20 years ago, from day one, he told me I would get on a webinar with him like you are with us now. And he would say, I don't care what your website looks like. I don't care how ugly it is. He said, you need your own website. He said to me, you need your own website, Jane, so go do it. Well, I didn't know beans about it, and Phil knew a little bit because I was teaming up with Phil at that time. Believe me, I produced the ugliest website you ever saw. In those days, it was like just a line of stuff, either a line of banners or a line of copy, but it was the ugliest thing you ever saw. But eventually, I actually made a sale from it. And if you could have seen me, I'm sure all of you have had this experience. It was $47, okay? And I was running around the house saying, wow, I just made my first $47. And it still tickles me pink. It really does, because you feel good when people invest in your sites. And it doesn't matter whether it's $10 or $10,000. It's really important. And so again, if you can get your own site done, that's a very important thing to have. And I'm thinking Tony, I'm seeing Tony's site. I love the one with his banners, and it's got lights going around it on the edge. And it's really a nice site. If I haven't told you that, Tony, it's really, really a nice site. And that's the kind of thing, just make it up, do what you want. And if people like it, great. And if they don't like it, okay, so you'll find something else, other way to proceed. But never give up. That's the main part. Okay, how do you do that? Wait, Phil just is, hang on, I'm giving this back to Phil.
Excuse me for a minute, I got a mouthful of Tic Tacs. Um, one of the things that Mike did teach us was, when you set up your own site, don't just go on the internet and promote affiliate products and use the affiliate link that they give you, right? Get your own web page, put a banner on it, or put some very short sales copy on it, and put a link to that website, the affiliate link, but sell it from your own website, right? Because that way you can brand yourself on your own website, and then people will get to know you. Oh, okay, yeah, he recommended this the other week, and that really worked for me. I might try one of these other things that he's got. That's the best way to do it.
Let me add to that. And also, if you need help with setting up a website, Phil does that. And he's not going to charge you an exorbitant price. He'll charge you a price, but for his time. But a simple website really is a must have if you're in business. And many of you I know are just and join affiliate programs, which is great. But if it's on your own website, it really makes a big impression. So that's really a good idea that Phil is talking about, because it stands out. I'm telling you, I remember Tony's site, the login page site, or when it's got all this stuff on it, but it's very well done. It's very simple, and you don't get crazy looking at it. So I hope, Tony, you're doing really well with that site, because it's great and it's really attractive, and it's simple. It's simple. Okay. So one of the main things that you must do if you're online is to have your own list. Everybody knows that, right? But it's not as easy as you think to grow your own list. And we decided a long time ago when we launched our flagship site, which is so cool. It's really probably, along with Profit from Free, as one of our best known sites. And we decided that most people have trouble building lists. And so we would devise a way to help them not only build an initial list, because if you don't keep adding to your list, people get to know you, they don't want to, or they go offline, or they get sick, or whatever. You can't just have a static list. You have to keep growing your list. So we came up with So Cool, where we would give people um, a certain number of lists, either 500, a certain number of lists, people, not lists. Um, uh, yes, but that was before we had email. Now it's really list members. It's So Cool that you can email every single day. But we came up with a way to auto add people to that list by something that we call tokens, which are really just kind of ad credits, but they're not really for ads. They're a way to get people to take tokens away from you, and in exchange, they get on your list. It has worked wonders. That's So Cool, because people who tell me I have a list of 10 people, well, that's great, but it's probably not going to build you a business if it stays that way. So you have to keep building your list, and it's So Cool you can do that. And I want to show you. Oh, this is the blog I'm still on. So we wanted to do something. I know that many of you are already founders at So Cool, because founders at So Cool can make out like bandits because even this is a special offer, by the way, that I'm going to make to people who aren't founders. But if you are a founder, we also have a really good offer to today. A dynamite. Phil says a dynamite offer. Um, so usually as a founder, we give you 3,000 targeted. Now, when I say targeted, they're targeted to the group. When you sign up to So Cool, you have to pick 3 areas of interest, because you can't sign up without checking. Then we have a whole drop down menu. It's So Cool. You can pick advertising, coaching, email, or you name it, it's on there, financial stuff, a whole bunch of categories. You pick 3 of the most important to you. And when we give you a list, in this case, it's going to be 6,000 targeted list members. But let's just take the ordinary founder offer, which is 3,000. We actually go by your 3 areas of interest. We find them and we add people to your list in those areas that you picked out as your main interest. And those are pretty targeted lists, and it's hard to get that. So I really encourage you, if you aren't a founder at SoCool, to upgrade to founder, because today we're doubling everything. We're going to give you 6,000 targeted list members free. It's part of your sign up as a founder. And we never used to when we first started. We didn't let anybody email from SoCool. Now there's an emailer, and you can email that list, which we're going to set up for you every day. Once a day, you can email them. Now, it's not your long, drawn out email. It has to be limited to 500 characters. But let me see if okay. So I'm just going to put this up for a minute. This is a short version of something if I wanted to promote SoCool on SoCool, which I don't, but sorry, I wanted to give you an idea. 500 characters in an ad gives you gives you a way to give a lot of information. And the reason I started this webinar out asking you to think of 3 important things that you want to get across is I was really thinking of SoCool and how do you keep an ad short, sweet, and to the point. So you'll see that this is one I wrote for when we do this special offer. And it says the list is targeted. Very important, right? It starts with 6,000 members. Very important. You can mail to it daily. Very important. No credits to earn. Very important. It will grow to thousands more, and it grows on autopilot. And that comes in where usually when you're a founder, you get 25 million tokens, and those are auto list building credits. And this isn't a webinar on SoCool, but if you join SoCool, you'll find out. You can read all about tokens. What happens is you make an offer of your tokens. Let's say, for argument's sake, 1,000 tokens. Okay, and there's a place for you to make that offer. Somebody comes along and they want more tokens. They grab your 1,000 tokens and you get them on your list. It is absolutely a sensational way for people who don't really know how to go about building lists. But even if you do, you're getting targeted members added to your list. So you really want to use these tokens. Some people offer, I don't know, I think we're up to maybe 650,000 that somebody's offering to get one list member. And you can get that right back. By the way, you go into claim tokens and you can get your 50 million tokens right back. It is a fabulous way to build a list, and now you can email it every day. Now there's also, you can post on Coolwall. I don't know why Phil says 4 times a day, because that's not true. Coolwall, in case you don't know, it has 1.5 million people who see it, and it's all over the net. I don't even know where it is by now, because people can grab our API and they can set up Coolwall in their own site, and you're posting to their site as well as many, many other people who carry Coolwall on their site. So Phil forgot to put in that you get to post to 1.5 million people, but it's not, don't post 4 times a day. One is enough. You can post daily, because otherwise, it looks, even though it's not technically spam, people will say, oh, no, not again, not that same person again. So post once a day. Reaching 1.5 million people once a day, believe me, that's a good deal. Okay, So this is our founder offer. If you're not a founder, I really urge that you join SoCool and upgrade using this link, because the usual price is $14.97 in the members area. You do not want to pay that. You want to pay, and if you want to pay $7.97, or you can break it up into $2.95 three times. This is the best deal you're going to find on the net, because nobody gives you targeted lists with 6,000 people on it to start, and then auto grows it for you. Now, you can come into SoCool at lower levels. That's fine. Start somewhere. We have the lowest price is our silver membership, and you get 1,000 free list members, also targeted. So you can't go wrong with any of the memberships at SoCool. Now, I know there are some of you who are already founding members of SoCool. We're not leaving you out. If you go into the back office and you want to buy 1,000 SoCool list members, you are going to pay $4.95 for each 500. So this would ordinarily, if you wanted to buy 1,000 SoCool list members on top of whatever you have now, you'd have to pay that. Today, my crazy partner says, okay, because we really appreciate it, by the way, when you come to our webinars, because it's so important. When I go to webinars, I always learn something new, even if I know a lot. So if you are already a member of SoCool, of founding members, you click here and you can pay 100. These are manual. We add them manually, and again, we target them to whatever you've put when you registered at SoCool in those areas. That's a really good. That's what I call a really good deal. $100 for 1,000. What you would ordinarily pay 1,000 for. So I promised you now that, oh, by the way, before I tell you how I win at Belmont, because Belmont's going to be going off, I think it's like 5:30 in New York. And I'm going to tell you how I always win when I make a bet. So stay tuned. First, I'm going to tell you how to collect um, a bonus for the webinar. We're going to give you 500,000 profit from free ads. Phil, put up profit from, oh, I guess it's down here. If you're not a member of Profit from Free Ads, sign up there free, and we'll put an extra 500,000 ad credits in your account. And all you need to do, see, there's my email. I never hide my email. All you need to do is email me at janemark4@gmail.com and put I was at the webinar in the subject line. And then oh no, you have to give me your username. Sorry, Phil, you forgot to put that in. We need your username also, and then I will just pop into your account and add 500,000. Now, this is much more fun than all of the other stuff. Okay, just give me some feedback. Is there any way any of you can think of that you could walk away from a betting window when you're at the racetrack and be sure that you have a winning ticket in your hand? Does anybody? I know you don't know how I do this because I made it up. Oh, who said that? Tony, how did you know that? Oh, you're right. You bet on every horse. Yeah, okay. There is a special way you do that. And I'm going to give you an example. Belmont today has too few horses, but I'll give you the idea. I think there are 8 horses running today. And what you do is, if you know what an exacta is, an exacta means you bet which horses comes in first, and which horse will come in second. And you can do that for $2 or $1 at some racetracks. And if those two horses come in first and second, then you win whatever the exacta is. Now, if two favorites come in, you're dead in the water because you probably paid more than what they're going to pay. But if long shots come in the second or first place, then you may make quite a bit of money. So I'm going to use, even though I would never do this with the horses that are running today, and I'll tell you why. But let's take Belmont today. They have 8 horses. So what I would do is I would go up to the betting window or the computer, which they have now a days, and I would say to the guy behind me, he'd look at me like crazy, like, what is this crazy woman? I'd say, I want you to wheel, I want a $1 exacta, and I want you to wheel all the horses with all the horses. And when I first used to come up to the window and do that, the guy would look at me and say, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I want a $1 exacta, and I'm going to wheel every horse with $1 on with every other horse." Now, take the example of Belmont because this is a good example in terms of it's not an expensive bet. But the way you figure out how a $1 exacta is going to cost you is you take the number of horses, in this case, 8. No, I know. I'm explaining how you do it. You take the number of horses, which is in this case in the Belmont is 8. You multiply it by one less than the number of horses. So you multiply your 8 horses by 7, and that's going to cost you $56. So that tells you how much you have to pay. Now, you do not want to do that where there are horses with things 2 to 1, 5 to 2, 7 to 2. You want to do it on a nobody knows race, one of these races where they're not these outstanding favorites, or even if there's one, you want to look for horses that are races where there are horses going off at 20 to 1. 30 to 1, 12 to 1. I never do this unless there are horses that are at least 12 to 1 running in the race. And you always figure it out. Let's say there's 14 horses. So you would take the number 14, multiply it by 13, and that would tell you how much you'd have to spend. So the reason you want to do it on long shots is because you want to get your money back. But at any event, it really feels good because all these people are standing at the racetrack railing saying, "Come on, Rich Strike, come on this one. We the people," whatever the name of the horse is. And I'm sitting there saying, I have the winning ticket no matter who comes in. And once in a while, I mean, usually you make your money back in spades. Not always. Sometimes the two favorites come in. End of story. I The most I ever take with me is $100. That's the most I can lose. So, but you can do a lot of races like that when you win one to the other. And so that's the way that I always have a winning ticket at every racetrack. Now, I go to the racetrack, you have to understand, about once every 5 years. So this is not something you want to do as a regular thing, but it is great fun. And I love to see the face of the guy who's taking the behind the whatever you call it, where you go to make the bet, because he looks at me like this is some insane woman coming up here. But I guess Tony must do it too because he knew how to do it. It's a lot, and as long as you make horse racing just a kind of fun thing that you do every once in a while, it is really fun to not be all nervous about who's coming in. You just stand there and say, "I have a winning ticket. I know I'm going to collect something back. May not cover my bet, but I'm going to get something back." So I wanted to share that with you today because sometimes you got to think of creative ways to do things. And that's finding your own voice. Always winning at a racetrack is one way you can find your own voice. Now, there's one other thing I want to talk to you about, and then I'm going to let you go because it's Saturday and you should all be playing. Okay, Etsy links. We didn't talk about that. But one of the ways that you can stand out from the crowd is that you take your link, like let's say the webinar link that you signed up from. I don't have it, I don't think, in front of me. Anyway, go to webinar links. They go on forever. They're like 50 miles long. What I did was go to Etsy links where you can create your own custom link, and you can track it. We give very good tracking stats in the back office, but you can create. So I sent out a lot of ads for this webinar with different Etsy links. So my thing would say etsylinks.com and then my username, which is Etsy, and then it would say find your own voice. Or it would say, what else did I send out? There was so many, I can't think of what the other ones were. But I did it. I think, oh, win at the races. There were all sorts of ways. And I can look in my back office and see which ones were getting hits and things. But more important than the stats to me is the fact that you never have to have the same link going all over the internet. And particularly for affiliate marketers, if you're not a member of Etsy Links, you really want to join it. Don't join free, because what happens is you can create a link. You can join free and you create a link, but it has at the end of it, you can't customize it. So it'll be Etsy link, 64321. It's got numbers and letters, and it's not what you want. You want to be able, whatever you're promoting, you want to be able to put right on your Etsy link, and it's very easy. I think I'm up to 700 Etsy links because I almost never send out a link unless I go to Etsy links and create a new link for what I'm promoting that day. And you may have, when I promote, for example, profit from free ads, I have 100 ads, different kinds of ads, all different things, ways I promote it. But what I do is before I promote an ad, I go into Etsy links. I'll just click on this, won't go in now, but I go into Etsy links, and in the back office, I customize a link, and it's you can watch them. I did a whole webinar on how you do that. It takes 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds, but it really adds to your ad, because if everybody, when somebody launches a new site, right, everybody has the same affiliate link, and it's every ad you open, you know exactly where you're going. When you disguise it with an Etsy link, people may click on it, whereas they may have not clicked on somebody else's ad. So if you're not a member of Etsy Links, I really advise you to do it, because it is, and it also has a mailer with 9,500 members. So that's also a wonderful part of it. Oops, Phil wants to end this.
Okay, just to summarize the webinar, we've been talking about finding your voice, and Jane's been giving you different ideas and different sites that will help you do that. But to summarize the whole thing, take advantage of the So-Cool Founder Membership Double Up. It's a really good special. And if you are a So-Cool member already, a So-Cool founder, then take advantage of the extra 1,000 list members for $100 and save yourself $397. Oh, save yourself 397 times two. No, a lot more than that. $894 you're going to save. Okay. Okay. Anyway, Okay, all right. You're going to say, you're going to say big. Let's put it that way. Or as some people on the net would say, bigly. Um, anyway, this is a truly special offer. It's not going to be around for long. Take advantage of it while you can.
Okay, and I'm gonna let you all go. And remember my trick of betting on all the horses all at once, all, all in a round robin kind of thing. And remember to brand yourself and to help people who are signing up under you. It's really important. And I thank you for spending some time with us today on a Saturday. And we will see you on the next webinar. Unless anybody has questions. Does somebody? Wait a minute. If you have any questions, Phil will stay in the chat room, and we're happy to answer them. Ah, see, I was so good. I got all your questions answered. I'm just kidding. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, Pete, I have to stop the